Rodney. It's really good to have you here. Would you like to introduce yourself and say what you do?
Yeah, I'm the Treasurer for the South Pacific Division, which is the oversight of the finances of Australia, New Zealand and the Pacific Islands area of our division.
Now, you have been launching over the last year or so an eGiving app.
Yeah.
What was the motivation for that app?
Well, the motivation was we had repeated tithe studies that confirmed that a lot of people don't choose to not tithe. It's just they don't get around to it or they don't have the money when they get to church. So we realised we needed to develop a website and an app that dealt with how people were managing their finances today.
Oh, and I know you're rolling it out over a period of 3 years, but do you have some indication already that it's working and encouraging more giving?
It is definitely working. There's still more room for improvement, but over the last 3 years we've been tracking it. The first year that we used it, we only collected about $2 million in the whole year. Now we'll be soon collecting that every month.
Every month?
Every month coming through from it.
That's astounding.
It is.
And do you think this is all to do with the app, or are there other economic or intrinsic factors that are affecting that?
I think it's to do with, a lot of it's to do with the app. When we looked at the results of it, we looked at the number of people who've signed up. The increase in giving is coming when we look at the usage of it. We find the internet site, the highest rate of usage is on the days that people get paid, which tends to be a Wednesday and Thursday nights. We see the people using it. The offering side, we see the highest rate of usage on the mobile app is during the Sabbath worship service. So we can actually see people are giving during the church service on their app.
So it's actually part of their worship.
It's part of their worship.
Whip out their phones and give.
Give, and it's
just
easy.
Like
They've set it up, they just put the amount in and just press give. Because the thing we did find, and as we surveyed around, when you go to church now, you hear a lot of rattle of coins.
Yes.
A lot of people don't come prepared with cash. And as we talk to particularly younger people and say, you know, what's the issue? They say, well, I go to church, I just forgot to go to the ATM to get cash out.
So we often feel that it's the older constituents who are our givers,
Yeah.
but in fact, it's really just the method of giving that we need to get on board with so that our younger people
We definitely need to engage our younger generation, and if we're not relevant to how they're operating, that's going to be a problem to us. And many of them are living on their phones and internet, so we're able to engage them in using that app.
I think some people had a question, because stewardship is part of worship, that all this technology was going to take the worship element out of giving. But if they give during church, then they're doing it right there with everyone else. Are there things we can do when people give online, do you think, to improve the worship atmosphere of giving?
I think also too, what we've got to look at, it's not just the worship, it's the planning. When we say worship, we're actually then expecting people to respond on the spot, like tug at the heartstrings, whereas stewardship is really about systemic planning, and that's where the internet and app allows people to plan better. So I think the other thing with worship that we need to learn from the app, and I know my wife does, they feel guilty when the offering bag goes and they don't put anything in it.
That's right.
And that's just something we have to understand, because the offering bag is probably not relevant for where people's finances are.
Yes.
But there's almost a guilt factor if they don't contribute to it. Now, when they put money into the offering bag, it tends to be the loose change.
Yes.
Whereas really for planning for offerings and tithes should be about planning what's really required and needed.
So we don't want to be a bad example in church and have people around us think we're not giving.
No.
But at the same time, I think we're still figuring that out as we
still
transition to better ways of giving.
And we do have to figure it out, because it's sort of, you can see a church in transition as to how do we handle that, because it is, you know, cash is an old way of finances these days, and yet financial planning is into these new areas of technology.
I was thinking something simple one can do is when the churches put up their sites for eGiving, that one could just put a Bible verse there, or even play some music just to create a worshipful atmosphere. But I think ideas will come up as we go along.
Well, I know in my church I often get asked to do the offering announcement for the tithes and offerings, and I'll be referring quite often to people using their app, and I'll actually validate it by saying, you know, if you haven't brought your money, you know, use your phone. So actually make it part of the giving, whereas we tend to do our offering announcement just around the offering bag.
That's
and
right.
I think in the way we talk and our language as leaders needs to be broader.
Yes. Now, do you think that it costs a lot to do the app in comparison to what the worth is of putting out such an app?
No. We're actually, we spent money at the beginning. It's been more than recovered. Like in the time we've had it in the last 3 years, we're approaching $50 million that's come through the apps and the online. The apps and the online work together. That's just minuscule compared to the cost of it. And we're actually now in the process of looking at making a bigger investment to make it more convenient and easier for people to use, because we just see the benefit of assisting our membership.
And what is the scope of such an app? Are there other functions that you can add to it, or are you going to keep it just focused on giving as such?
At the moment, it's just on giving. It's just about the offerings and the tithe. But we're looking at the moment how it may engage with our other media pieces that we're putting together, particularly part of a discipleship piece. We're looking at how discipleship will work in the South Pacific Division, and stewardship is one component of discipleship. So that's now our thinking is broader, because as we're engaging our church members regularly through that electronic system, we have the ability to do far more nurture and communication than just about giving.
So it really can become even part of your outreach and not just...
Yeah, probably more of our in-reach and nurture, probably more of our nurture program with our membership. So that's the question at the moment, just how we take that, and that's in the planning stages. So very shortly we hope to sign off on that next stage.
And how long did it take to develop the app, do you know? And are there any technical issues you'd like to advise us with regards to banking in your country and security?
Yeah, security is our IT people have taken care of that. I think when we talk about the app, we've also got to realise there's a website behind it, because there's a website that people can use. They log on, they put their security details in that, and that's through a fully secured payment system. When they use the app, they're just feeding the information through to that secure system. So they actually work together to make the app secure and also quick and easy to use. So there's probably more security on the online than where the apps are. So,
well, I'm pretty sure you may get some questions from the field in the future, from others who are developing their apps, and we'd like to encourage that. I'm sure you'd be willing to share your wisdom.
We have a number of divisions at the moment that are talking with our information technology department about how they may be able to share and cooperate and use what's there, and we've been able to assist. But you just got to look at each country, because the payments and banking systems are different in each area.
One bit of information I do have, and that's the IT department down in the GC. I think they're even working with your IT department and with the team in Brazil, are trying to produce a secure platform that other divisions will be able to then use as their back end in order to develop such apps. So we're really hoping that, we know you were a pathfinder in this eGiving app business, but thank you for blazing the trail. And we hope that people will be able to get on board and increase the giving, because this is one way in which we really can serve the mission of the church.
And it's one way I think that our IT departments, we're really happy with the vision that our IT department had. A lot of the IT people are the ones that have driven it. It hasn't really been administration. They've had a vision and a burden for it.
Well, praise the Lord for IT people.
They are, and so we're really grateful for their skills, because it really translates and has a big benefit on the church. And our tithe increases, as we monitor, have largely been coming about because of that app and being able to be more where people are at in their giving and payment programs today.
Well, thank you so much for the information and the encouragement. We appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.